Alright, YouTube, we are here to talk about the underrated for like a week core. He was a Geo first, and now he's getting this proper release where he first released in JP as an event, the Immortal core. So in this video, before you pull on Core's FR, I'm going to review the units on the banners and give you some information to think about before you potentially use up your gems or your tickets or your NF tickets. I want to hear your thoughts. Be sure to leave a comment with your plans for the banner and the fight. I want to hear your reductionist take to what core is. I'm going to say core is basically a melee tank Kane with a sprinkle of Setzer. Oh man, do you guys remember when core characters came out, people saw rainbows and they're like, oh, basically Setzer? Jesus Christ, the clown fiesta never ends. Anyways, while you're here, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss a video. You can become a channel member for a $1 renew. And let's get started, shall we? Core. Core is a melee utility attacker. Utility meaning anything that I need it to be because he does a bunch of stuff. He's a linked attacker, which is cool. He, on his skill 1 or his skill 2, he puts a buff on a teammate. This makes them unbreakable, and this gives them some extra stats. And whenever they act or whenever they are targeted, Core will do a preemptive attack. It's pretty cool, and it enables a lot of extra damage, but it's only on one at a time. Never mind. There's some Kane shenanigans you can do, but that's niche. So this attack works as a preemptive attack for party members, or it works as an off-turn attack when anybody's targeted, or if the enemies are targeting all, then Core will double dip the attack. He can do cap brave damage on a special HP attack that he gets occasionally, and he can also do it when his FR is active. And he also, the cool thing about Core's rework, aside from upping his damage, his preemptive attack went from 1 to 2 attacks. His personal damage, I think, doubled as well. And his EX is stronger. He now has more damage reduction for the party, whoever he puts his buff on, and I think in general he gives the party HP regen, which is a massive expansion of his roles. Now he can be a solo healer if you're taking any bit of damage, so that's really good. Core is sick. They really did their thing with this character. His FR condition, it's when on turn brave damage goes above 9999. Which is pretty easy for most. It's at or above that, and with blue armors in the mix and all that, it's usually pretty trivial to hit. So it's almost free, but you know there can be niche scenarios where there's brave reductions to where you can't hit it, so that's something to consider. And it's just 5% off turn damage, just period. Anything that happens outside the turn, it's 5% up. It's pretty handy. It makes him a pretty good general FR. This is the like generic off-turn FR. Additionally, he has some buffs attached to his FR. Core gets a selfish chance to rainbow or hit capped brave damage on his turns for 40%. So this even harder guarantees that he will hit his condition completely. And he's got additional brave and HP damage reduction for the party, and additional brave damage up for the party. So if you're trying to optimize Core's FR, you want to run him with counters, traps, off-turn follow-ups. So your Yang, Core, Freya, Ace, Yuri not so much. Does Vayne count? I don't know, but anything off-turn, Core will like it. It's pretty straightforward. The list of units that will work there is long. So like Scythe, for example, might be nice. Leon, pretty much anyone that does off-turn damage. So it is what it is there. Not much to say, but pretty good. There's strength in being general. So overall, my evaluation, Core's strength is his roll coverage. Again, now that he has HP regen, that catapulted him into a whole new level of usefulness. That additional damage adds up. We've seen it with Kane. We see it with other off-turn units. That damage over time really adds up. It's crazy. He's just adding an additional 2 HP attacks to anyone he's linked up with, so that's awesome. His FR is super easy to do. Just let the enemies act, and you're good. He's got flexibility because Core can be run. He can drive as an off-turn unit, or you can have him linked up to someone in a BT phase or a turn hogger, and he'll just be a +2 on their attacks every single time. It's super good, and he's non-elemental, so if there's any elemental FRs you want to throw him into, or potential more off-turns like Yuri or something, he can hit that as well. And he also doesn't need his FR to be a good unit. You don't have to press his FR because he'll still have that wide roll coverage in his kit regardless, so there's that. So you don't even need his FR if you really want to run him that bad. So weaknesses wise, if there's enemy brave damage reduction. I mean, Core can hit that condition on his turns with his 40% chance to hit cap brave damage, but the other teammates are going to have a harder time, so you might not want to press his FR then. And while he does have HP regen, it's not the greatest, and he doesn't have a burst heal on it, so if you're taking massive damage, he doesn't have last stand either, so he can't really fulfill that full defensive, but he's a nice middle ground. And using the special HP and force time might be a damage loss unless you're like at the end of it, in which you could press it, but it's not as before it was 10 ticks of his preemptive to get it up there, not 7, but you're kind of pressing it less often now because of the way force works. But I mean, I'm nitpicking. Core is a really, really good unit in my opinion. Next on the banner we have Gao, who's getting a C90. He's an Earth Magic counterattacker. He provides Earth enchant to the party. So now the cool thing about Gao's rework is he usually was locked to a counter and you wanted to see the LD one most of the time, you wanted to ignore the ones on his skills. Now he does both, so you can either lean into damage with the cat scratch one, which is 2 HP attacks now with splash. His LD counter is also 2 HP attacks with split damage and also heals. Or so you can lean into more of the off-trend healing with and single target damage, or if you want to go full damage, you can do that. So, but in total, Gao has at least 4 HP attacks, single target, and even more with split and splash HP damage, depending on what route you take. So that's pretty competitive. And on top of that, it's a double counter. So like, as you've seen with Galuf, if you got off-trend conditions, if you need these will count as separate ticks. So for Core's FR, for example, Gao would actually get +10 of the off-turns provided someone gets hit. So we'll do a landslide counter, 5%, and then it'll do cat scratch counter, 5%. So this enables these type of counters to do a lot more on the off-turns than you might realize. And he's got his special HP is all right. It's 2 HP attacks. Really, those off-turn heals and damage are very good. But Gao's biggest downside is a fist ultimate weapon, so it might not be as hard for him. It's not as popular as a weapon type, and if you're metaing and Tifa's up next month, you might want Tifa holding that, but Core could hold that. I mean, not Core. Yang can hold that. Gao could hold that as well. But the lockout, the 3-month stretch of lockout is coming next month, and there's still to this day no FRs that cater towards Earth, which is pretty tragic. Although I did recently use Gao in Transcendence 14. You can check that video out on my channel. I use it with Rubicante, and Rubicante has an off-turn fire FR, but using Lulu's LD call, I was able to take advantage of Gao double dipping and actually drive my force thing up pretty high. I'll link that as well. That was a pretty funny run. So yeah, Gao's definitely solid. And he's got some good things going for him. And those off-turn heals again, and the double dip, really attractive to me. In a kit sense. Jesus, stop. Okay, Noctis. Geez Christ. Almost, the down bag flag has flipped. Noctis is a mostly range damage dealer. I say mostly because his EX is melee, just because. He's got free turns when he uses his plus skills, and then he can manipulate his turns behind the enemy. If he presses LD, he also gives his ability to the party, and their turns are also free. If you have his BT, he's got an additional 2 HP attack follow-up that happens after party actions, which is handy, and he's got launch on his skill 1. Noctis is a bit outdated. Honestly, I don't remember if his BT was on banner here in JP. I don't remember. Especially without his BT, his kit is pretty dated. I know he's got cool synergy with Jesse's FR down the line, and maybe he could be handy with a range FR like Balthier next month. I think Balthier's next month, but Noctis is just a bit dated at this moment. Free turns and turn manipulation are not as powerful as they used to be now that we're in Shinryu. So that is what it is. But he's still an okay unit, I guess. But we're at the end of it now. So before you pull on Core's FR, which is my opinion. It's just named the people and able to decide, more objective take. If you love the character to death, do what you gotta. But just throwing some different perspectives out there. Just given my plans, I want Core's FR. I didn't invest it in JP, and I'm always trying to hit those new experiences, and I have the resources. Don't get caught with your pants down with this game. And this game will shut down one day, and best believe I won't go out with 1,000,000 gems. Absolutely not. The resources are there to be spent, not to be hoarded. Most of y'all don't even know what you're hoarding for. That being said, I have everyone's LD on this banner. I have Gao already. I will be investing in Gao. I'm gonna give him force enhanced at some point. The team in my head is a team of like Gao, Machina, Charlotta to be constantly HP plussing, and then to constantly have those off turns as well, just to have a solid team around. I think that sounds very fun. Will it work in practice? I don't know, but I'd love to try it because Core couldn't hold the unique at the same time that Charlotta could, so Gao could fill in that because my Fist unique is getting built up over time. That's just the team in my head though, but overall, yeah, Core's FR, I want to be able to press that too, just because off turn's fun. Core is really just like a broken unit. I recommend everyone at minimum get Core's LD. You don't have to get the FR, but it is an option. Again, if you haven't dipped into off turn FRs yet, and you get Core's FR, you might realize how fun it might be. If you've been running Reno as well, Core is a good pair there, just for leaning into that. Like Core, Reno, Gladio, that's a team Sephi runs, and it's pretty cracked. You got the defense on deck and all that good stuff. So yeah, overall, my recommendations for the banner, I would recommend getting at least Core's LD. Core's FR is pretty strong. And consider Gao, although I'm not going to recommend him just because he's going to feel bad with lockouts, especially if he skips Charlotta for the next 3 months. But afterwards, he's fine. And he might rerun down the line, so that might be a better time to pick him up afterwards. But that's all I had to say. Expect to see Gao videos, at least me trying. I might give up. That's the thing. Like, I recommend these things because I think they're cool, but I'm going to try them out for myself and see how they go. So, yeah, I'll let you guys know. You guys will watch the video, hopefully. Like, subscribe. Again, let me hear your reductionist core take. Tell me your plans with the banner and what I talked about. And I'll catch you guys later. All right? Peace.